time. Time to pick every spread and every total for week 9. Welcome, football fans, grid, iron, gamblers, and my degenerates. It's Mitch here. This is Money Mitch, and it's time to make some money. My picks for every game, every spread, and every over-under. If that sounds good, spike that like button. Get in the comments and let me know which picks you agree with, which picks you disagree with. And don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel, man. Let's go. Let's break down every game, give you my thoughts and analysis in depth on every matchup. Let's kick it off with Thursday night football. That is the Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins, the return of the Great 8, Lamar Jackson. The total is 50.5. We've been actually doing extremely well on our over-under picks this year, by the way, so just throwing that out there. 7.5 is the spread. Baltimore is favored. I like Baltimore here to cover this game. I like Baltimore to make a statement. I like Baltimore to go to Miami and win by double digits. First of all, I like to fade the Miami Dolphins off a big win where nobody expected them to perform and win. I will say that. And they're back home, and it's a short week. But Lamar Jackson is rested. They've got their full offense back and ready. Derrick Henry in the backfield. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins. Ronnie Stanley's okay, ready to rock. I just don't think Miami can do anything about this offense. Whether it be running the football, controlling the clock on the ground, or even creating explosives on the ground. Miami has really struggled to stop the run all year. Now, they did have a pretty good showing against Bijan Robinson, but that had a lot more to do with the lack of respect for Kirk Cousins. The Dolphins just packed the box and said, Kirk, throw the ball downfield, beat us. No Drake London, beat us. And he couldn't do it. He's washed 100%. But Lamar Jackson, he can do that. Zay Flowers, he can do that. Rashad Bateman, sneaky good deep threat. He can do that. So Miami can't get away with just loading the box to stop Derrick Henry. Not going to happen. Miami's going to get sucked up by that play action, and then Lamar's going to be able to feast down the field. So I think Lamar looks good, comfortable in the pocket. I expect him to be pass first in this game, trying to protect that hamstring and not really looking to run all that much, but I expect him to be able to strike, get the ball out, make some plays in the passing game against a defense that struggled to rush the quarterback and has one of the worst cornerback positions in all of football. I think you can attack Miami through the air. I think you can attack Miami on the ground, and Baltimore is a balanced offense that can do both. Defensively, Baltimore has impressed me the last couple of weeks. Their pass rush is still a little lackluster, but their secondary is really, really good, and they are good at tackling in space. Now, when you look at Miami, you don't necessarily need a great pass rush because their entire offense is centered around getting the ball out as fast as possible. Whether it be on a swing pass that's designed as a makeshift screen, a screen itself, or a quick little in-breaker, whether it be a dig route or a slant, Tua is looking to get that ball out as soon as possible. So, because their offensive line's so bad, the only time you can really rush Tua in Miami is on 3rd and long. That's really the only time. And typically, that's where you get a lot of stops. If you can stop them on 1st down and collect just a couple yards on early downs or negative plays on early downs against Miami's offense, that's where you can halt them because that's where they become exposed on the offensive line. And you look at the Ravens secondary now and what they've been able to do since trading for Gilman from the Chargers, who's now their free safety. They have Malachi Starks and Gilman roaming deep down the field in their 2 shells, cover 2s. They've got Marlon Humphrey on the outside instead of the nickel. They got Kyle Hamilton in the box playing nickel. Roquan's back in the middle. And then Nate Wiggins on the outside. So that has completely changed their secondary. I think that Nate Wiggins is low-key one of the best corners in the NFL. I think he can match up with Jalen Waddle. And I feel like with Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith all in the box, or all with the capability of tackling well. I think that takes away a lot of those quick throws. And I think that structurally, Baltimore's defense matches up pretty well with Mike McDaniel. I do think Miami could find some success on the ground, but I don't think it's going to be enough to keep up with Lamar and the Ravens on the other side. Like, they might be able to get a couple nice runs and a couple nice drives going, but I think eventually, if Baltimore gets that lead and forces Tua into more drop-back passing situations where he has to throw the ball downfield, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think Baltimore's defense is getting better, is forcing more mistakes, is forcing more turnovers, is restricting in the red zone right now, as we saw against Chicago. And I think it travels on the road, and I think they play well. Last 2 weeks, Chicago, 16 points. The Rams, 17 points. I think Miami might flirt with that range, somewhere close to 20, but I think Baltimore is going to get around 30 in this game. So I like the Ravens to win. I like the Ravens to cover. I will take the under 50.5 because I don't think Miami is going to quite score enough for this to go over, but I'm not going to probably play the total just because I need to see Baltimore's defense continue to shine. But I think the right play right now is to actually lean into Baltimore's defense being better than people think and taking the under. That is just my opinion on the way that this number looks, because I think that the books and Vegas is basically saying through their numbers and their metrics, Baltimore's defense is the same defense it was 3 weeks ago. And I don't think that's necessarily the case because of the health that they have and because of the trades they've made. I think Baltimore's defense is better right now. So I would actually take the under 50.5. I take Baltimore to cover 7.5. That's Thursday Night Football. Now, before I get to Sunday, guys, I do want to mention something or give you a quick question. So, would you guys like me to do a separate video every week breaking down primetime games? If you would like that to be a video for Money Mitch, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll definitely think about it and potentially make that a video. So, let me know in the comments, even if it's just a sliced up, cut up video of other videos where I'm talking about the primetime games. Let me know if that's something that you would like to see in the comments. Okay. Let's get to Sunday. The Vikings at the Lions. The total is 48.5, and the Lions are favored by 8.5. I am going to lean towards the Lions here to win this game and to cover this game. And in terms of the total, expecting it fully to be J.J. McCarthy as Carson Wentz has a real bad collarbone injury, I would take the under, 48.5. I don't think the Vikings are going to score many points. I also think the Lions' offense is maybe a little bit overrated. The defenses that I actually respect at which they've played this year, Green Bay, Cleveland, right? Tampa. They haven't really played great on offense in those games. Kansas City, they've been good in those games, but not great, like not last year. So I do think the underrated thing about the Lions is their defense. And I think kind of maybe the overrated thing about the Lions is their offense. Just throwing that out there. Meanwhile, the Vikings have no offense. They have no quarterback. They can't really run the ball that well. Their offensive line has been inconsistent as any offensive line in football, as inconsistent as any. I just don't think the Vikings have any identity right now. And I think the only hope the Vikings have to win this game is by playing it as a defensive battle. And good luck against Detroit in Detroit. So, looking at the injury report for Detroit, Kirby Joseph did not practice on Wednesday, but it is expected he will return this week. Brian Branch, of course, is back from suspension. Massive deal. He's probably their best player in the secondary. Terrion Arnold is also a full participant, so he should be back. But I was extremely impressed by the Detroit Lions corners on Monday Night Football last time we saw them against Tampa Bay. I thought they did a great job. Otherwise, it appears that their defense is pretty healthy. Also, Avonte Maddox limited as well. He did also miss the Tampa game, so he's also a depth piece that could be thrown in there as well. I look at the Vikings and I say, this has been a matchup that Brian Flores has not been able to win for them against the Lions. Jared Goff has had the answers. The Lions have been able to stay balanced and run the football against the Vikings. in a way that a lot of other teams the last couple of years have not been able to do against Minnesota. The Lions have the offensive line that's smart and savvy and great, and they can pick up all the blitzes that the Vikings want to throw at them, and Goff is a very quick processor, and he can get the ball out on time to the right receiver. And of course, the Lions have many mismatches in the receiving corps against a not very good Viking secondary. So I think this is a poor matchup for the Vikings. I don't think what they want to do and are really capable of doing at a high level matches up well with the Lions from a defensive standpoint. And now that the Vikings are a little bit leakier in terms of that run game defense, that only opens up more possibility for Detroit. Detroit is typically a lot more explosive at home. Detroit is typically better on defense. They don't get all the holding calls called against them. Now their defensive line is actually a little bit better because Aleem McNeil, one of the most underrated defensive tackles, is back in the fold. He played really well against Tampa, I thought. So the more that he plays, that just makes the defensive line as a whole better. Muhammad's played well. Hutchinson's a beast, right? They've got a really good defensive line with McNeil back in there. And then, of course, the secondary is healthier. So I think this is a blowout. Low-key, I think this is a blowout. I think the Lions win this game. I think the Lions cover this game. I don't trust J.J. McCarthy if he gets behind in this game to be able to process, make the right decisions, and make the right throws. We've seen the Lions obliterate the Vikings before last season, late in the season. We've seen the Lions dominate this rivalry. We've seen the Lions be able to plaster and play physical and actually reroute these receivers in man coverage, which is very impressive considering one of them is Justin Jefferson. But yeah, I just like nothing about the Vikings right now. I don't think their run game is consistent enough to lean on with a young quarterback. I don't think that their receiving core is going to overwhelm the Lions in any way, shape, or form. They may make their plays, but I don't think it's going to be ridiculous. And I love how the Lions linebackers are playing. I see nothing about the Vikings here that makes them go toe-to-toe with the Lions. Like, even if their defense causes a turnover or some sacks early in the game, I just think the Lions eventually will figure out the process offensively to dice up Brian Flores' unit. So I think the Lions win this game. I think this might be a best bet. I like the Lions here, especially if you want to tease them down. I think that's a good play in this game. And I do like the under just because, again, I don't have much respect for the Vikings offense right now, period. Next, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears. It's a really interesting game. I would just say stay away from this game. Joe Flacco has a lot going on right now, and it's unsure whether or not Joe Flacco will play. So there was an update an hour ago on Joe Flacco, and I'm recording this 2:15 Pacific time on Wednesday. Joe Flacco, suddenly an injury concern for Cincinnati against the Bears. He left last week's loss against the Jets and returned. He is suffering from an AC joint sprain. It's going to be tough. He's probably not going to practice this week. So if that's the case, Jake Browning is probably going to play, which means the Bengals are a significantly worse team with Jake Browning, because Jake Browning looked like the worst quarterback in the NFL, period, right? Like, he looked terrible. So, and this is a must-win game for the Bengals too. Like, if they lose this game and they drop to 3-6, they almost have no chance of making the playoffs or keeping it alive until Joe Burrow comes back, which is the only faith they have. The Chicago Bears are 4-3, and if they drop to 4-4 in this competitive NFC, that's also not good. So they kind of need to win this game to stay on pace for an NFC wildcard position. So it's a big game for both teams. Trey Hendrickson also didn't participate on Wednesday. Dalton Reisner didn't participate on Wednesday. Logan Wilson didn't participate on Wednesday. Logan Wilson could be traded. Trey Hendrickson could be traded. Possibility there, but maybe not until next week. Just throwing that out there, though. It's possible Logan Wilson could be dealt before the weekend. I mean, he wanted to get traded. He's asked for a trade. Now, that being said, Logan Wilson hasn't been playing as much for the Cincinnati defense, but just throwing that in there as a point for this game. That's interesting. But I wouldn't bet this game. I have no interest in betting this game. 51.5 is the total. It's pretty high. Cincinnati's defense is so bad that you almost lean over. If Joe Flacco plays, I mean, it's probably a smash over because Chicago's defense is beat up. Their secondary is beat up. Kyler Gordon was out last week. Tyreek Stevenson was injured. Their pass rush is lackluster, so they can't take advantage of the Bengals' offensive line, which has actually been playing better recently. The Bengals' run game has been playing better recently. Amarius Mims has really developed this year for the Bengals, it feels like. And Jamar Chase is playing great. T. Higgins is catching bombs down the field. So it does kind of feel like I would take the over, if anything, if I were to bet this game, because I think the Bears will be able to run the ball, which means they'll have balance, which means Caleb will be comfortable off of play action. There'll be wide open players crossing the field in Ben Johnson's scheme. Roma Dunze should be able to feast in this game. Like, it should be whatever they want to do for Ben Johnson's unit. So I guess I'll lay the 3 with Chicago if Joe Flacco isn't playing this game. I was going to be in on the Bengals early in the week if Joe Flacco was totally fine, because I kind of like Cincinnati at home here against a lackluster defense in Chicago to bounce back after a disgusting loss against the Jets. But assuming Joe Flacco doesn't play, there's no way I can pick Jake Browning. Like, there's absolutely zero chance I can pick Jake Browning. So I have to go with the Bears here. There's not a lot of science or like real deep depth information here. It's just that Chicago is probably the better, more healthier team, I guess. Like, Cincinnati's defense is just terrible. Like, Chicago's defense is bad, but Cincinnati's defense allowed 39 points to the Jets without Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields at quarterback. Like, that's a different level of terrible. You know what I'm saying? So, and also Chicago's a better coach team with Dennis Allen and with Ben Johnson. It's a better coach team than Zach Taylor and these Bengals. So, yeah, I'll go with Chicago, I guess. If Joe Flacco were playing, I might have to reconsider, but that's what I'll pick on a Wednesday now. I'll also take the over, I guess. Next, 44 is the total for the Packers and the Panthers. This spread at 13.5 is a little egregious and outrageous, in my opinion. I think I have to go with the Panthers plus 13.5. The total at 44, I'll go with the over 44. I think the Packers can find ways to throw the football. And from what we saw last week, I think that they can run the ball. Because I saw James Cook run the ball all over Carolina. And Carolina had been one of the best run defenses in football the last few weeks. Last week, though, James Cook and the Bills found a formula to run it all over them. Now, that does concern me. Maybe the Packers win by 14. But I don't know. The Packers haven't shown me enough consistency in terms of being able to level bad teams. They really haven't shown a lot of separation in many of these games. And I do think the Packers defense is just slightly overrated right now. I do think Carolina, with Bryce Young back in there, which he's expected to play, he was a full participant today at practice, he's better than Andy Dalton. His mobility allows him to make more plays outside structure. I think he's just understanding this offense at a higher level. And he hasn't played bad this year. Like, he's been fine for Carolina this year. In terms of injuries, Taylor Moton, the right tackle, did not participate. That's a big injury to pay attention to. Nick Scott did not participate at safety. Trevin Wallace did not participate at linebacker. These are all players that typically play quite a few snaps. Brady Christensen also did not participate for the Panthers. And for the Packers, Lucas Van Ness still remains out. Wicks still remains out, but that's not a huge deal. Watson is back. Devontae Wyatt looks like he'll play once again. So will Christian Watson. Those were big additions on Sunday against the Steelers. Made all the difference in terms of Watson's ability to stretch the field and create that spacing for somebody like Tucker Kraft to get open underneath. And then on the other side, Devontae Wyatt to be able to wreak havoc in the interior to lighten the load of the pass rush for Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. I like the Packers. I think they are ascending. I think they might even be the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, but I just think 13.5 against a 4-4 Carolina football team is just too many points. Now, if we see that Moton and Christensen and all these guys are actually out of the game and the offensive line is completely depleted and Bryce is banged up, sure, this could become a blowout. Like, that pass rush against a bad offensive line, it could be a blowout. It very well could be. So this is one where I wouldn't bet until we know who's playing and who's not playing. I would wait until Sunday to bet this game. I don't think the line is going to change too much. If anything, I don't know. It's probably going to stay around 12.5 to 13.5. I don't think this will get above 14. I do think, though, it could change my opinion. Like, if the offensive line is completely depleted for Carolina and they're playing Micah Parsons and this pass rush, and I love how Jordan Love looked on Sunday with all those receivers, I feel like they're going to be able to make enough plays at home to maybe even cover. Like, so it's tough. I mean, it's tough. But I kind of think you have to take these points because Carolina is not the Titans. Carolina is not the Jets. Carolina is not the Saints. Carolina is not a bottom tier team. Cleveland, right? Like, Carolina is not that level of bad. They're respectable, right? They can run the football. They have McMillan on the outside. Coker's back. Bryce Young in there gives you a little bit more certainty rather than Andy Dalton last week, where it's like, was Dalton going to be as good as Bryce Young, or was he washed? And we got our answer. And defensively, it does feel like Carolina's a little disrespected here after a bad performance against Buffalo. Maybe there's a bounce back where Green Bay hasn't been running the ball as well as expected. They're not running the ball as well as Buffalo is. That's for certain. So maybe Carolina can force them to throw a bit more. But that being said, I do think Jordan Love should have success with those receivers against this Carolina defense because they are susceptible to the pass. So I think Green Bay definitely wins this game. But I kind of feel like Carolina is good enough to hang around. I think that with Bryce in there, they're good enough to hang around. So give me the 13.5 with the Panthers. I'll take the over 44. I actually think the over 44 is not bad. I mean, unless Carolina just gets absolutely shut down, which, again, I don't foresee. Like, the Packers have been giving up points. They gave up points to Arizona. They gave up points to the Steelers, and I know those games were on the road, but still, I kind of feel like dink and dunk your way downfield. Carolina's got a good run game. I think that's enough to put up 17 points in this game. So give me like a 30-17. That feels accurate. 30-17, 27-17. Give me the points and give me the over. Next, the Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. This spread is only 9.5, and the total is 43.5. I'm actually wondering why this spread is only 9.5. Feels a little tricky. The one weird thing I'll say about this game is I don't know if I trust Justin Herbert this week. He's been out and about at Halloween parties, at Dodgers World Series games, at Lakers games. I mean, I get it. He's in love, right? He's having a good time with Madison, but I'm a little concerned about laying the 9.5 with the Justin Herbert that's not on his full game of attention here. But I guess he knows it's Titans week. 43.5 is the total. That's interesting. I do want to see the Titans injury report. So Calvin Ridley still hasn't participated. Jeffrey Simmons still hasn't participated. Xavier Woods did not participate. What else? Dan Moore, their left tackle, did not participate. Arden Key did not participate. Those are some of their best players on their entire team, and especially their defense. I mean, Jeff Simmons and Arden Key, those are their two best players in their front seven, probably. That's pretty significant, right? Tony Pollard's limited. Calvin Ridley is their number one receiver. I know they've been getting more out of DK, but still. The Titans are terrible, guys. Like, maybe this is a McCoy revenge game against the Chargers. I don't see it. Chargers looked great last week. I thought they looked awesome. And they've had 10 days to prepare, 10 days to rest and get right. So I expect Joe Alt to be in there, which means the offensive line is going to be able to protect, especially if Jeffrey Simmons and Arden Key aren't playing or they're limited. There's no pass rush for the Titans whatsoever. Herbert's just going to eat. He's going to pick these guys apart. I mean, I love what I'm seeing from the Chargers passing game. It's one of the best in football for my money. Like Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson's stretching the field. That Gladson or Gadson or whatever kid, he's balling. And they've got just enough balance with Vidal in the backfield. Defensively, I thought they looked a lot better with Khalil Mack out there. And I love how Henley and Perryman are playing in the middle, Derwin James. I don't know, man. Are there Chargers injuries that I should be concerned about? Like, I don't know why this is only 9.5. I don't know. It's in Tennessee, I guess, but it's only 9.5. Tennessee's terrible. Like, shouldn't this be like 13 points? Are the Chargers just underrated? Like, guys, what am I missing here? Like, we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, 10 days preparation. We've got a healthier Charger team. Am I missing something? Like, what am I missing? Who's injured for the Chargers that I should be concerned about? I still got injured. High ankle sprain at cornerback. Okay. Tony Jefferson and Derwin James did get hurt in the game against the Vikings, but I think they're okay. And even then, they could probably throw Dante Jackson. That's interesting. So, still is out. If Tony Jefferson or Derwin James play, I'm in on the Chargers. Like, as long as they don't have 3 players missing in their secondary, which could be a little bit of a problem to be able to cover this game, I have to go with the Chargers. I think they win this game. I think they cover. There's no way that anyone's making me bite on the Titans. Titans are terrible. The Titans can't cover a spread. The only reason the Titans won a game this year is because the Cardinals coughed it up, literally. They fumbled the ball into their own end zone for a touchdown, and they fumbled the ball into Tennessee's end zone for a touchback. That's the only reason they won a damn game this year. The Titans have been getting blown out by quality teams. The Colts, the Patriots, they're going to get blown out again here. Assuming Derwin James or Tony Jefferson play, I'm all in. Like, I don't get this at all. In terms of the total 43.5, because of the injuries in the Chargers secondary, I'll lean over. Because I think the Chargers are going to score close to 30 in this game. So I'll lean over, and I'll take the Chargers minus 9.5. This one's weird, though. This is almost like a why is it not 10 plus? Next. The Atlanta Falcons at the New England Patriots. Patriots are laying 5.5 at home against Atlanta. You guys know where I'm going here. I'm taking the Patriots minus 5.5, of course. Now, checking the injury report for Atlanta, it looks like Jesse Bates is limited after leaving the game on Sunday against Miami. Leonard Floyd did not participate. Zach Harrison did not participate. Those are pretty big injuries. Drake London limited, though, so he could be back. Penix probably will be back. He's limited. They might just force him on the field, to be honest with you. Jalen Walker, also limited, could be back. So Bowman and Jalen Walker could be back, guys that have missed games. But Zach Harrison, if he misses the game, that's significant. Zach Harrison's been very good for them. And basically, you'd be swapping, if Leonard Floyd can't go, you'd be swapping Leonard Floyd for Jalen Walker. So, I mean, I had expected Atlanta to be healthier for this in doing my previous breakdowns for this game. Ramondre Stevenson did not participate. Morgan Moses is resting, but did not participate on Wednesday. So, if Stevenson misses, I honestly don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, he's honestly just been a liability to the team, if anything. So I'm not really going to say, like, that's a difference maker. But I think Zach Harrison could be. But I think, when breaking down this game, it's in New England. It's not in Atlanta. Atlanta's a better home team. I think the Patriots are a different tier from Atlanta. I think they are clearly the better team with the much better quarterback, with the much better coaching staff. I also think the Patriots are the only NFL team to allow a 50-yard rusher. Bijan Robinson, the key ingredient to the Falcons' success. If you slow down Bijan, you beat the Falcons, period. And I think the Patriots are better equipped to do that than just about anybody with their defensive front and with their run defense. You have Christian Gonzalez, who can shadow Drake London and hold him to a limited day, which if he is limited by injury, that will already help him do that. I don't think the Falcons are going to have much success on offense in this game. I think the Patriots defense shows out at home here. They kind of need a statement performance, and this could be it. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to replicate what the Niners did a couple weeks ago with the blitzes and with the man coverage, which the Patriots are certainly capable of doing. And on the other side, I mean, nobody's stopping Drake May right now. Like, literally nobody. Like, nobody. So, you can run the ball on the Falcons. I'm sure Josh McDaniels will have some ways to do that. And with any semblance of balance, Drake May is going to pick you apart because he hasn't had any balance this year, basically. And he's been able to put up a ton of points. He's basically playing like the MVP of football. And the Falcons, they have played well as a pass defense. But again, I just don't know if there's a defense right now that's really shutting down the Patriots the way that Drake May is playing. And I think they have a plethora of different players that they can go to, whether it be Stephon Diggs or Kayshon Boutte or Mac Hollins is even stepping up, Hunter Henry. All these guys are playing well. So that's the thing where, like, you can't really focus your attention on Diggs and just expect to win this game. So I think the Patriots win this game. I think the Patriots cover. Biggest edge to me is they're at home. They've got much better coaching, and they have the much, much better quarterback. And their quarterback's healthy, and Michael Penix isn't. And they can stop Bijan, which is the underlying factor. So I have the Patriots here, -5.5. 45 is interesting. The Patriots have been an over team because I think I've underestimated just how good their offense is. But I do kind of get the sense the Falcons are going to struggle to score. Like, I would be a little surprised if the Falcons scored more than 20 points in this game. I would. If they scored 17 through 20 would feel about right. But I think New England is going to score at least 24, if not 30 plus. So I kind of feel like this is an under 45. It could be an over. That's a tough number. 45 is tricky because I think New England, like 27 is kind of like sticking in my mind. It could be a matter of, did the Falcons score 24 or 20 or do they score 17? And that's kind of going to screw you over either way. But the Patriots have been an over team. So I guess I'll lean over 45 and I'll take the Patriots minus the points for sure. I like the Patriots. In a teaser, I like the Patriots to cover as well. Next, we've got San Francisco and the New York Giants. San Francisco laying 2.5 on the road. They've made a couple trades and additions here. So the Patriots traded Keon White, a reserve defensive lineman, to the 49ers. I'm a fan of Keon White as a Patriots fan. I think he will fit in well to Robert Saleh's defense to give them a little bit of an interior pass rush. They also signed Clelin Ferrell, former 4th overall pick of the Raiders. He played with the Niners last year, so there will be familiarity there. But they just need bodies on the defensive front, and I don't think there's an injury report for the 49ers right now. I'm going to look that up right now. But obviously, highly dependent on who's playing for the 49ers. I'm going to simplify my analysis here. Niners are coming off a loss. Niners have the much better coaching staff. And the Niners aren't playing the best defense in football, the Houston Texans. So I'll take San Francisco -2.5. I'll also take the under 48.5. I think that's too many points. I don't think either offense is really going to thrive in this game. I think Mac Jones has kind of come back down to earth for the 49ers. And they do need Brock Purdy's playmaking, especially without their receivers right now. But the Giants' defense is not playing well. So let's check the injury report for the Giants. So Paulson Adebo did not participate. Jermaine Illuminor, their right tackle, that's pretty big, did not participate. Cordell Flott, concussion, did not participate. That's their top 2 corners. So Paulson Adebo and Flott both did not participate. Another corner, Art Green, did not participate, so that's a big injury. They have a lot of injuries to their corners right now. Javon Holland is limited, so that could be a guy that does return for them. Also, Greg Van Roten rested. He didn't participate, but that's a rest. Okay. In terms of the Niners, I know that Ricky Pearsall did not participate today, so maybe he's still another week out of playing. I'm not sure. Then Brock Purdy, I don't expect to play. I actually think Farrell and White are going to have to play in this game because they don't really have anyone right now on the defensive line. So it's kind of tough for the 49ers defense. Yeah, it's tough to bet a 49ers game right now. But I'm just simply going to say, at a fundamental level, I'm going to take Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh over Brian Daboll. I'm just going to do that. And I do think that the Niners are healthy enough on offense to move the football. I think you can run the football on the Giants. With Christian McCaffrey, we saw Saquon go crazy last week. George Kittle can probably make some plays against these safeties and these linebackers. And I think Jawan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, and Demarcus Robinson are enough against an extremely beat-up Giants secondary. With their top 2 corners out of the game, that's pretty significant, right? Most likely, their top 2 corners will be out. I think Kyle will find a way to scheme up some advantages on the outside. And defensively, I think Huff is still out. Sam Aquanu and Yetur Gross-Matos are probably still out. So that leaves Mykel Williams, Keon White, Clelin Ferrell, Kevin Givens, Alfred Collins, Kalia Davis. It's not a very impressive defensive line for the 49ers. D. Winters is also beat up. Is he going to play? I mean, their secondary is there, which is nice. They have a secondary intact, but the whole defensive front is messed up. So it's kind of like the Niners don't have a defensive front and the Giants don't have a secondary. So I guess I'll go with the Niners here. I'm still going to take the under. Maybe I'm insane. I don't know. I'm still going to take the under. I feel like 48.5 is too many points. But I would wait on the total until we get closer to seeing who's playing for the 49ers. Actually, I felt like against the Texans, the Niners were good on defense except for third down. Third down is really where they struggled. If they're just a little bit better on third down, they hold the Texans to fewer points. I think the Texans were like 9 for 14 on third down. Like it was bad. And a couple of those plays are just a little bit unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? So I have the Niners here. I don't think the Giants will be able to run the ball all that well either. So give me San Francisco to win this game and to cover. Next, the total is 50.5 for the Colts and the Steelers. The Colts are favored by 3. The total is 50.5. I like the Colts to win. I like the Colts to cover. I don't think that the Steelers are good. I don't think the Steelers are within 3 points on any field with the Colts. I think the Colts are a good team. I think the Steelers are not a good team. I think it's pretty simple. The Steelers' entire identity is based on their defense. They have the most expensive defense in football, led by Mike Tomlin, who's the most conservative coach in the NFL on fourth downs. It's a complete mismatch. The Colts have the highest scoring points per drive offense since 2000. They're above the 2007 Patriots through 8 weeks. This offense is the real deal. It's the best in the NFL. They can run the ball at will. They've got a plethora of playmakers. The Steelers are terrible on defense. The Colts have an offensive line to block TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and company. Warren's going to be a problem for this defense. Michael Pittman's playing really well. Alec Pierce is faster than any corner they have. And they play way too much man coverage. Like Shane Steichen is going to eat them alive. I think the Colts will score 30. So it's a matter of, can Aaron Rodgers keep up? Lou Anarumo is going to have some creative blitzes and stunts to be able to move Aaron Rodgers off his spot. I do think that their defense in the run game, the Colts, are pretty good. So I think it will make the Steelers a little one-dimensional. I do think Pittsburgh can find some quick passing and maybe even occasional deep passing success against the Colts because their secondary right now is pretty beat up. Jalen Jones, though, returned to practice. Full participant. Grover Stewart did not practice on Wednesday. That's pretty big. Kenny Moore did not participate. That's pretty big. Tyquan Lewis did not participate. Samson Ebukam did not participate. Nick Cross did not participate. Josh Downs did not. That's a lot. Now, maybe they're just waiting. That makes this bet a little tougher. There's so many injuries in the NFL right now, guys. It's tough, man. But that's 1, 2, 3 potential starters on defense. And I know that Charvarius Ward's still on IR. Looking at Pittsburgh, Deshaun Elliott out for the year. They did trade for Kyle Duggar. How fast are they going to get him in there, and is he even a difference maker? I'm not sure. Pat Freiermuth probably won't play. That does take away from the fundamental of the Steeler offense. They want to be a 2-3 tight end set. Zach Frazier, their center, did not participate. I still like the Colts. I need to see their defensive injuries, but the reason I like the Colts is because of their offense, right? It's because of their offense. And I will say, Tyquan Lewis and Samson Ebukam, they are backups. They're rotation players. They're not starters. Kenny Moore is a big injury. Nick Cross is a big injury. Those are big injuries. So watch out for those. Those are big injuries. But I like the Colts because I think they're going to be able to be balanced. I think they're going to run the football. I think they're going to be able to throw when they want to. I think Ty Warren is going to be a mismatch problem. And I think that the Colts will do just enough on defense to win this game and cover. It's only 3 points you're laying here. I have these teams on different tiers. The Steelers don't know what their identity is. They're a scoring football team. Like, they are a top 10 offense in EPA right now. But they treat themselves like they are the 2008 Steelers, where they have the best defense in football, and they're just one of the worst defenses in football. So Mike Tomlin needs to adjust to that identity, and he's not going to do it. So I like the Colts. Better coach team, way better in terms of the offense, in my opinion. So I'll take Indianapolis here, and I'll probably dive deeper into that on my best bets, and we'll have more injury information when it comes to that one. Next, the Houston Texans laying 1.5 at home. Oh, I guess I didn't talk about the total in that Colts game, but I would go over. I would go over 50.5. Over 50.5 here. With all the Colts injuries on defense, even if a couple of them are out, that's going to make the difference. I think Rodgers can move the ball enough. Something like 30 to 20, 30 to 23, something like that. I'll take the Colts. Next, 39.5 total for Denver and Houston. 1.5 is the spread. No Pat Surtain. That's the big injury to note in this game. Injury reports I have not seen yet, but it does appear that Nico Collins is going to return and Christian Kirk is going to return for Houston. It's a good Houston spot, I think. Denver is mostly healthy outside of Pat Surtain, but that makes a major difference when you're playing against Nico Collins. Makes a major difference. And the Texans looked really good on offense last week. Now, the Niners clearly don't have a pass rush anywhere near the quality of Denver. Anywhere near, right? But Denver looked really good on offense because they played Dallas, right? Now they play Houston, the best defense in the league. I just don't see the Broncos moving the ball that well in this game. I don't think they're going to get a lot of separation on the outside. They might have some success running the ball, but not much. And Bo Nix, under any semblance of pressure, is a different quarterback. I do like the signs from what I saw from CJ Stroud and the Texans, the quick passing game. I thought he moved well. I thought they ran the ball better than expected against San Francisco. I'm just going to take the home team with the better defense. The fact that Pat Surtain is out is a huge factor. Denver's front has the capacity to ruin a game for CJ Stroud and the Texans. But I think it's as simple as, like, the Texans and the Broncos are defensive teams. And one of them is healthy and one of them's not. And one of them's at home and one of them's not. That makes a major difference. Now, do the Broncos have a better offensive line? For sure. I would personally say the Texans probably have better weapons. But this feels like a Texans spot Without Pat Surtain, it shifts the identity of the Broncos defense. It shifts what they have to do or what they can get away with. And it makes Nico Collins that much more threatening. So I think the Texans win. Probably won't be pretty, but I think they win. I'd still lean under 39.5. I'd still lean 39.5 under, even without Surtain, because the front of the Broncos is going to have a say in this game. And I still don't trust the Texans' offensive line. I don't. Against good pass rushes. We saw it against Seattle, right? So I'll go under 39.5. I'll take Houston minus 1.5. 20-17 Texans. That's going to be my guess. Next. 44.5 is the total for Jacksonville and Las Vegas. Jacksonville is laying 3. I'm going to keep it simple. I think the Raiders are terrible. I think Jacksonville is mid. I know the game's in Vegas. Both teams are coming off a bye. I'm going to take Jacksonville. They've looked like the better team all year. Let's keep it simple. The one matchup that I think heavily favors the Jags is their pass rush against the Raiders' offensive line. The Raiders' offensive line is atrocious. Might be the worst in the NFL. Geno Smith behind that pressure and behind that offensive line has been a different quarterback than the one we witnessed in Seattle. And Jacksonville has Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, even Eric Armstead up front. Devin Lloyd may or may not be returning, but that would certainly help. And offensively, Liam Cohen has had a full bye week to figure out what to do with the offense. How to get Brian Thomas more involved, how to get Travis Hunter more involved, how to evolve in terms of getting the most out of Trevor Lawrence. And simply put, I have more faith in Liam Cohen to figure out the answers for his offense with the glimpses we have seen from Jacksonville's offense this year, rather than Chip Kelly figuring out what to do with Ashton Genty and how to protect Geno Smith. And even if Brock Bowers is back, I think that Jacksonville wins this game, and I think they cover. They have the better defense, the more opportunistic defense, and they have the better offensive line with the better offensive mind. So I'm going to take Jacksonville. 4-3 versus 2-5. Jacksonville should be laying more than 3, even if the game's on the road at the Raiders. They've, I've seen nothing about the Raiders that I like. And the Raiders, they had a week 1 victory against a team with an entirely new team, right? Basically, like, they beat the Patriots with the new coaching staff and, 12 new starters, and they didn't even know who they were. That was one of their wins. And then after that, they beat who? One of the worst teams in the league? Who'd they beat? The Titans? Someone like that, right? They beat, a terrible football team. That's the only teams they've beaten. Jacksonville beat the Niners. They beat Kansas City, right? Yes, they got hammered by the Rams, but they've just proven a lot more to me this year. So I'm going to take Jacksonville -3. This might be a best bet. I'm going to try and dive a little bit deeper into my analysis to potentially make it a best bet, but it's really, really easy. This one, just don't overthink this one. It looks a little trappy. Don't overthink this one. Next, the Rams -14. The total is 44. The Rams -14. I like the Saints +14. I do think the Rams will win. I'll take... that's tough. Do I want to take the over or the under? I'm going to take the under. Puka Nacua still kind of banged up. I'm not sure. Is he going to play this week? I think so. I haven't really heard anything on Puka Nacua. Has anyone heard anything on Puka Nacua? That's kind of weird. Nobody's talking about him. But he looked sharp in a limited time. Tweeted 1 minute ago by a beat reporter. Okay. He was at practice. So I think he will play. But if the Rams were smart, would you even want to play him this week? You're playing the Saints. With a new quarterback, a rookie. At home. I don't think you need him. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't think you need him. The Rams look real good in that London game. They had a bye week to rest. They added Roger McCreary at the corner position to get more competitive there. Saints players are hearing their names in trade rumors. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara. Now, the one worry about this game is the Saints' offensive line without Eric McCoy. They looked really poor against Tampa Bay. Spencer Rattler was under constant duress, but I did feel like the offense got better when Rattler was pulled and Tyler Shuck went in the game. I think Tyler Shuck is kind of underrated by NFL markets, so that's why I kind of like the Saints with the 14 points. I think Shuck is more talented than Rattler, and I think he's actually probably the better quarterback. So I'm going to lean into that analysis. I do think the Saints have enough at wide receiver to make some plays on the outside against still not my favorite secondary in the Rams. The one thing that concerns me for the Saints is the pass rush. That's the one thing that concerns me. Is if the Rams can just dominate up front, stop the run of Kamara, force Shuck in a lot of bad situations. But again, it's 14 points. And the Saints defense hasn't been bad. I mean, they definitely look pretty good against Tampa Bay. Their run defense is solid, so it might make the Rams a little bit more one-dimensional. Puka Nacua might be limited in this game. So there's not a lot of weaponry out there for the Rams if Puka is not really ready to go. I think the Saints can hang. That's just kind of my hunch. I think they can hang here. I've been impressed by the defense recently, the defensive line especially, and I think that Shuck is actually an upgrade for the Saints at this current time. And there might be a couple surprises. There's not a lot of film on him. So there might be a couple of surprises that Kellen Moore brings to this Rams team. And the Rams might be sleeping. I mean, let's be fair. Like, it's the Saints. They know they can win this game sleepwalking. So I'm going to take under 44, Saints plus 14. Next, the game of the week, maybe the game of the year. The Bills at home getting 2 as an underdog. 52.5 is the total for Chiefs and Bills. Before Monday, I would have said I definitely like the Chiefs. But on Monday, I thought the Chiefs didn't look very good. Honestly, I thought the Chiefs looked pretty pedestrian against the Commanders. Offensively, I felt like they didn't really do much other than throw screens and scramble drill plays. And the Bills looked extremely impressive against the Panthers. If the Bills had Ed Oliver, I'd probably be all in on the Bills to win this game because there is something about this regular season matchup where the Bills always find a way to win these games. I don't know why. The Chiefs always win the playoff games, right? Josh Simmons will probably be out again. And the one weakness we did see from the Chiefs offense was left tackle. Moore, their replacement left tackle for Simmons, was terrible against Nick Martin, an edge rusher for Washington. And his name isn't exactly Greg Rousseau or Joey Bosa, who's been playing really well this year. So maybe the Bills' pass rush on the edge can really have an impact. The Chiefs also don't run the ball well. And the Bills' biggest weakness on defense is stopping the run. Now, they did play better against Carolina, but you can kind of pack the box and load up in the box against Andy Dalton and not be fearful, right? With Mahomes and Worthy and that speed, you got to be fearful. Maxwell Hairston is back for the Bills at just the right time. He's a 4.2 speed cornerback rookie to be able to maybe shadow Worthy. That means Benford can focus on Rice. I don't mind those matchups for the Bills as much as I have in years past. But I expect the Chiefs to still move the ball and score because this Bills defense has been susceptible all year, right? Looking at the injury report, Matt Milano is a full participant. That's pretty big. Daquan Jones did not participate. That's big. If you have no Daquan Jones and no Ed Oliver, that's your top 2 defensive tackles that are injured. That's a pretty big deal. Their pass rush for the Bills, though, is sneaky. I will say that. Josh Palmer did not participate on Wednesday. He's actually a pretty big deal for them, too. He has a knee and an ankle injury. That's pretty tough. They need Josh Palmer against the Chiefs. They need a guy that can work that intermediate. They need a guy that can work on the outside and actually separate and get open. Because right now, Keon Coleman is terrible, right? The only receiver worth a damn is Khalil Shakir. And the run game for the Bills might have some success against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have struggled a bit against the run. That's going to have to be the bread and butter for the Bills in this game. running Josh Allen like Marcus Mariota for the Commanders and running the ball with James Cook. And then a little bit of play action using Dalton Kincaid, screen passes, working their way, matriculating the ball downfield, and then using your tight ends. I think using your tight ends against those safeties, against those linebackers is going to be the way to attack them, because I don't think these receivers are separating very much against this secondary of the Chiefs, these corners of the Chiefs that are playing really, really well. The Chiefs just signed Mike Pennell 3 hours ago. The Bengals just released him. He's been a big part of their run defense in recent history, in Super Bowls and seasons past. I don't know why the Bengals just let him walk back to the Chiefs. But, you know, everyone's helping the Chiefs. The refs, every team in the league, I guess. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. You know what actually is kind of standing out to me? The under. The under. I think the Chiefs' defense is good. And the Bills' offense, from a passing perspective, is just very disjointed. It's lacking a lot of creativity. It's lacking pure talent and skill on the outside. And if the Bills are just going to try to run the ball and throw short passes, it's going to lead to milking the clock, right? Like a lot of long drives. And on the other side, the Bills' defense, even without Ed Oliver, that pass rush could get to Mahomes. We know that McDermott knows Andy Reid really well. Even if Reid has done well against McDermott, McDermott's actually done better in regular season games, right? And I do think that the improvement at corner for the Bills is a big difference. I also think Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau are going to be able to tee off on those tackles. Like, I think that's a bit of a mismatch for the Bills, especially at home with the crowd noise. I kind of like the under. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I like a side. I think I'll lean Chiefs just because I haven't seen enough from the Bills this year. I haven't seen enough from their passing game. I trust the Chiefs' passing game much more. Even if I don't trust their running game, I trust their passing game. And I do trust the Chiefs' defense more in a big game than Buffalo's, because Buffalo's has just looked a lot worse for most of the year. But again, this is going to be a good game because I think the Bills have the better offensive line. And I think the Bills will be better at protecting their quarterback in this game. And I also think the Bills can run the ball better. This is tough, man. Like, I kind of like the Bills here. If Ed Oliver were playing, I would take the Bills. But he's not playing. I don't want to bet this. I want nothing to do with this. I might take the Bills in a teaser. I don't think they're going to get blown out at home. I don't see that. But I do kind of like the under because I think the Bills know they have to run the ball to win this game. And I think the Bills are going to limit those explosive plays from the Chiefs. And I think they're going to have a good pass rush. I think their game plan on defense is going to be 4-man rush, get home, and play zone. And just like force, like eventually get a sack, eventually get a negative play. Like that's going to be their defensive philosophy, I think. Maybe even sprinkle in man coverage. So I kind of think the defenses are a little underrated here. I'm going to go under, and I'm going to go, I want the Bills to win. Even as a Patriots fan, I want the Bills to win. But I think I have to take the Chiefs just based on how they're playing right now. But this certainly will not be a best bet. There's no question about that. Next, Sunday Night Football, Seattle at Washington. 47.5 is the total, and Seattle is favored by 3. What puts this over the top for me, Seattle -3, is no Terry McLaurin. Debo is just not that good anymore, in my opinion. Everything that he's good at is basically manufactured by the offense. Screens, wide receiver reverses and runs. Like, he's not a proper receiver at this point. And he didn't look himself in that Monday night game. Jaden Daniels should be back, but how healthy is he? He's playing one of the best pass rushes in football, and Seattle doesn't allow you to run the ball. So without Terry McLaurin, I don't know how well Washington's going to be able to just drop back and throw the ball with success. On the other side, Washington is just not a good defense. They're slow at linebacker. I think that you can have success running the ball in outside zone against them with Kenneth Walker. And if Walker gets into open space, nobody's catching him in this defense. And then JSN, I just don't see how anyone covers JSN on this team. I don't see it. even their tight ends are really athletic, and they're going to give these safeties and linebackers a lot of trouble. So I think Seattle is just clearly the better team here with the much better defense. And honestly, Sam Darnold's played better than Jaden this year. So I like Seattle. If Terry McLaurin were playing, I think there's a possibility for an upset, and I'd probably stay away. But we've already seen Washington lose a couple primetime games. I think they might lose another here to a team that's better than them. All right. And then Monday Night Football, we have the Dallas Cowboys at home -2.5 at Arizona. I don't know if we have an injury report for this one yet. My gut says Arizona. My gut says Arizona. They're coming off a bye. Dallas is coming off a brutal loss against the Broncos. And, of course, Dallas does play much better at home, right? But Arizona has won the last couple matchups in this series, and Arizona tends to beat the Cowboys. If it's Kyler Murray, great. If it's Jacoby Brissett, great. I don't think it really matters to me much. I think Arizona can run the ball on Dallas a bit. I think that they certainly will be able to find explosives. It might even be better if Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback because he is very good at throwing those like intermediate balls in this offense off of play action, which is going to suck up that defense. And on the other side, I think the Cardinals defense is solid. I don't think they're fantastic, but I think they will make their plays. They're solid against the run. They've got a couple pass rushers like Josh Sweat. Will Johnson is good. Budda Baker's good. Thompson is good. They might get reinforcements at corner this week too. I just kind of think the Cardinals they're kind of due for a win, and they've been losing a lot of close games. Even a 2.5 with the Cardinals is not bad at taking the 2.5 rather than taking the money line, because they've been losing games by 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like, Dallas could win this game 33-31, and you might cover. Like, it could be something like that. Like, honestly, with the way 28-27, like it could be something like that where Dallas like barely wins, but they don't cover. Like, honestly, it could be one of those games. But my hunch, my gut is the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals keep this close. They've been keeping every game close against the Packers, against San Francisco, against Seattle. Every game's been close. They've just been barely losing, and Dallas is not as well-rounded as those teams they've lost to. I think they might win this game. So give me Arizona to upset the Cowboys on Monday Night Football in Dallas. There it is, guys. My picks for week number 9. This was a little longer than usual. There's a lot of injuries going on in the NFL right now. A lot of confusion on that front. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Gronk spike the like button, and we'll see you in the next video. Best bets coming soon. Peace.